Billy D with another one of our exciting Cal Jam podcast with a really, really super close friend of mine who's even closer now. You're out in there in Utah now, right, brother?
That's right. We're about an hour flight away.
I'm going to come out and torment you this winter, all right,
I
if I
can't, I
may.
can't, I can't wait. You came out in the summer and it was more than too much fun.
Yeah,
Actually,
we did have a good time.
it
All
was a
right, so
great time.
this is like, I think you've been at every Cal Jam so far, right?
Every single
I
one.
think the only two people that have been at every Cal Jam are you and I.
Yeah.
But you've always really loved it, and why don't you tell the audience why you think Cal Jam rocks, which it does.
So I remember in the very beginning when you came to me with this vision and kind of said, "Here's what I want to do, and here's how I want to do it." And I talk about dreamers and dream merchants. Dreamers are people say, oh yeah, I have this vision, I want to do this, but they never do anything.
Right.
A dream merchant is someone who has the vision and turns it into reality, which is what you've done. So I want to commend you on that. And it caught me, at my soul level immediately because of the influence music was going to play in the experience of Cal Jam. And I could say, well, I have a bias towards it because I'm very much into my music, especially my classic rock. I keep a guitar next to my bed, and I'm always playing a little bit, and and it's a second instrument for me. I'm really more of a piano player, but I've got a love of music. So the idea of saying, wow, well, I have a love of chiropractic and a passion, and I have a love of music and a passion, and see those things come together, it's a match made in heaven for me. However, I'm going to say that music is, I think, at the DNA level of all human beings. There is something inherent in our evolution, if you will, as human beings, that music is something that we're drawn to. All cultures have it. Historically, it's existed. All human beings have been. Music is the aesthetic that defines the cultures of the world on an ongoing basis throughout all of history. So with that, it to me, I believe on the personal development or the human potential level, when you take music, especially live music, and I want to make it's very, very different when you have a band who's actually performing versus stuff that's piped through speakers.
Right.
It's in a different dynamic. When you take high level passion and purpose, and then you anchor it with music, I believe the lasting effects of what occurs is substantially greater than if it doesn't happen, if you don't have the music. Music is an anchor. Anybody who's listening to this right now, you can remember songs from your high school that as soon as you hear the song, bam, it brings you right back there. It takes you places. So, listen, emotion is the fuel that drives our purpose, that gets us to go out and succeed in the world. And there's no such thing as success without energy.
Right.
Low energy people do not succeed. So when you get into a high energy environment that puts you into a heightened state where you have a vision for what you can do in your community, and you anchor it with music, that becomes a tool for you in your practice for the year between the next Cal Jam, to be able to hear that music again, anchor it back to experience, reignite your passion and energy, and then boom, you're right there ready to serve on your vision again. So I got that. I got to tell you, for me, I got it immediately before the first Cal Jam. You told me this, and I was so excited about it. And now, having seen it unfold year by year in Cal Jam and escalate, it gets better every single year, as it should. It's been. I think it's absolutely in a category of its own. It does something that no other program does.
And Jane's reading a book. She's actually reading it after I read it. Chrissy Hines' new book called Reckless, who was probably, in my opinion, one of the best female vocalists and front women for bands. I mean, I don't know if many people know who she is still.
Wow.
But and because this year's theme is freedom, and musicians have kind of always let out just a certain consciousness, and one of the things that musicians always let out is kind of in-your-face freedom by any means, almost. I mean, we can go back to Hendrix and to the Stones. Hendrix was basically, he was definitely a free spirit.
Yeah.
Too bad he's not still around. The Stones, free do anything I want to do. And, obviously then we can step into politics with guys like Martin Luther King, free at last, free at last. And this year's theme is obviously freedom, and it's about freedom to maintain the freedoms that we have, but also to create and establish medical freedoms, which we're losing, especially here in California with SB 277. What's your take on all that?
Well, the theme and concept of freedom. I unfortunately think that the general culture has almost become numb to it, and what happens is people wake up again when it's actually threatened,
Right.
which is happening in California in a
Right.
significant way. And I believe, and I love the theme for Cal Gym this year, the freedom theme. Why did Jimi Hendrix exist? Why did Martin Luther King exist? Why did a Chrissy Hynde exist? And the answer is because there were certain elements of what was happening culturally
Right.
that was oppressive to freedom. Therefore, what would happen? It's almost like the original Cal Jam, what you modeled this after, the actual Cal Jam event, the rock
Right.
festival.
Right.
What happened? People come together where there's performance on a stage with a message. It's not just, hey, you're here to be entertained. No, there's a theme, there's a message. And then masses of people show up who are aligned with that message. And this is what changes the world. There's no doubt this is what changes the world, which is what your vision is. So I think that rock and roll was a rebellious cry for freedom, freedom from
Exactly.
oppression, freedom from the past, as far as how there was oppressive forces that existed. Vietnam War, other things that you could see that music in those days was very much about what was going on at the times in a political way for the most part, and how it affected our individual freedoms. I mean, I think the greatest intellectual feat of recorded history are our forefathers making a declaration of independence, talking about what freedom, that we are, the divine right of kings to be a sovereign over the freedoms of individuals is wrong, and that it's literally a God-given right that all men, meaning mankind, not just men in the gender sense, but men and women, that all people are born to be free. And when you start getting into oppressive structures that exist to limit or rescind those freedoms, that's where you have you need something like Cal Jam to create a spirit around the fact that we need to express our will and our commitment to preserving our freedoms.
So slightly, in other words, a slight little, maybe tiny revolution in thought.
A revolution,
right?
Exactly. Well, listen. Revolutions have many forms, right? When people hear the word revolution, sometimes they think it's guns and blood.
Right.
I'll tell you right now. You're listening to this. The revolution I'm after at Cal Jam is the revolution that goes on inside of your brain.
Yes.
You think that I'm talking to people listening. You think that the way you fix your life is by rearranging things outside of you.
Right.
That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You got to rearrange inside of you.
Right.
That's the revolution. So basically, and that's what I think we should bring. It's a revolution of your thinking and your understanding about chiropractic and your role in the world and your purpose. That's a revolution.
Right, and I think so many people today are mentally oppressed, where their creativity's held back. They're just the act of being themselves is being repressed anymore, and I think people are just basically, I don't know, they're kind of like they're like in their own chains of what. I mean, that's the whole thing. What I want Cal Jam to do, I want it to liberate people and let them to feel phenomenal about being a chiropractor, or if you're not a chiropractor, be phenomenal about being a CA, or phenomenal about just being in that family of trying to change the world. Because so many of us for so long have felt so like we're a minority in the health field. And what I try to get chiropractors to feel like, dude, we should be on the top of that thing. Because it's just like an incident that happened to me this week. A lady came in, she's having, rhomboid pain, and, they wanted to do injections in her rhomboid, and I did an x-ray on her neck. She's got severe problems. It's just like, that whole system is so dead and dying, that paradigm is so old. Why are we like even, cowering a bit to a profession that is just antiquated when we've got the answer right in our hands. And chiropractors, have always kind of like been like sit in the back of the bus kind of like mentality, and it's a poverty stricken. And I was reading something. I was reading BJ last night about just the value of where we put chiropractic. Chiropractors don't hold it at the level they should, and that's why they struggle so much. And it's just like it's time for us to take a stand and to change the world through this vehicle called chiropractic and quit being a pussy about it.
Well, there's no doubt we've been put upon for a lot of years. We have existed as second-class citizens in the world of what's called healthcare. And I think that has led to a minority. How can I put it?
Complex.
A minority complex, but not a proud minority, but an oppressed minority.
Right, of course.
Not saying, hey, I'm different and I'm not a part of the status quo, but but almost like we apologize for the fact that we exist.
Right.
We try to apologize for what we think is the fact that we don't have really any evidence for what we do, and we apologize for the fact that we want to charge money for what we do, et cetera, because we're not feeling worthy. And the imagery there is you're in shackles in your own mind, and that's why I talk about that revolution, to create freedom within yourself so you can free others. You can't be a slave and hope to free others while you're in shackles. You have to break your own shackles before you can light up other people and let them express their own freedom. Because in the end, we said with medicine, and kind of it's how it can be oppressive. And I'm not saying that individual medical doctors, are trying to be oppressive, but I'll say the general world of medicine has an oppressive sense about it. Has wants dictatorial control over what is done, in the world of human health, and the bottom line is that they leverage fear, which is a very powerful tool. Fear of death, fear of morbidity. If you don't get these injections in your rhomboid, this is what might happen. If you don't get this kind of intervention, this is why. So the opposite of freedom is fear, right? The opposite of freedom, saying, hey, I am free, which means I'm empowered and I get to choose and I'm self-responsible. The opposite is fear. I'm afraid to be free. I'm afraid of what might happen. I want somebody to take care of me.
Right.
I need to. Otherwise, I'm incompetent to take care of myself. So listen, the adjustment frees the imprisoned impulse, right?
Right.
The nervous system functioning properly frees the individual from fear of being sick. Freedom from fear. Was Fred Barge's book, and that's the whole point of it. It's freedom from fear. You don't have to be afraid to be alive. Which is what our message is all about in chiropractic. Barge was a genius in recognizing that.
And so, I don't know if you saw our most recent freedom video. You probably haven't, but you're in it.
I saw the one that you posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I commented on it. I thought it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, and that's what you said in that video. Freedom is liberating the imprisoned impulse, and I thought that was beautiful. Because that's where chiropractic is, and that's what chiropractors should stand for. Really, the reality is, if we want people to express 100% of their innate potential, we've got to remove the obstruction, which is the subluxation. And I'm going to England coming up here in a couple of weeks, and I'm taking the subluxation hard over there, dude.
Well, we've been over there a few times doing that, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am. You are, because the subluxation, the concept of subluxation is threatened in Europe in an unprecedented way. And
how did that happen?
Well, it happens because of, again, oppressive political leaders that aren't into intellectual freedom or academic freedom, who basically their plan is that they want to become a part of the Borg. They want to get absorbed into medicine, right? Yeah. Rather than be a free, independent thinking, non-duplicating service. They'd like to see chiropractors get drugs. So the European Chiropractic Union, which is akin, in relationship with the World Federation of Chiropractic, their agenda is to, what they would say in their minds, legitimize chiropractic by getting more medical, accolades, or having more medical, interaction or acceptance. Maybe is probably the best term.
But can't they see that people are running away from that old dying paradigm?
It is so ironic that they couldn't be more wrong in a practical sense. Even
Right.
forget the philosophical sense and the moral sense, where they're completely and obviously in complete contradiction. But even on the practical side, well, we'll get more new patients, more people will come to us. No. Do you think anybody wants to go to a third-rate medical doctor after the first and second-rate medical doctors failed?
Right.
They're looking for something different, something that's literally a distinct alternative from that system that can provide a non-duplicating service. So their whole attitude is, well, there's no science to support subluxation. It's a historical artifact. It's not a proven thing. And it's so wrong. We have to practice evidence-based medicine. I've been in a debate over there. What will you accept as evidence is the question.
I use that line all the time, Patrick. That's one of the best things I've learned from you.
Yeah. You can tell I have a lot of heat around that and a lot of passion around it, because I feel like that, that person that's out there having to fight in almost a frothing at the mouth way against this, because the premises are wrong that they start from, and people are embracing them too easily. So it's a matter of waking people up and thinking.
All right, so in closing here, tell me you kind of have a little bit, but tell me what you're bringing, and then why don't you just mention your new program that you've got out as well.
Thank you. So what I'll be bringing to CalGym, I'll tell you, I've never, just so everybody knows, and I take my presentations there extremely seriously. I don't take myself seriously, but I take the fact that I'm presenting seriously.
Right.
And so I have a lot of fun there. It's like, I can't even tell you how much fun it is. Listen, life it's about having fun. If you're not, you gotta come and have some fun as a chiropractor.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know. It's like, this is so much fun, so affordable. It's like, how can you not do this? It's like one of the biggest.
It's like going to the Super Bowl. If somebody gave you Super Bowl tickets, you would go to something stupid like that. But to come to something that's actually going to take you to another level of just not only practice but life, and you don't show up, it just blows me away. But again, I'm very biased on my opinion, but it's just like we've rolled out the red carpet for these guys and women. And they, I know coming from Minnesota or from Canada, come out of the slush to come to California, it's got to be a drag. I know that, I get it, but I just don't get it, dude.
It is one of the most beautiful parts of the world, and your analogy is perfect. Listen, I am a football fan, and I would much rather be at CalGym than the Super Bowl, and I'm a football fan, but because of the relevance of CalGym to my life. And that's the whole point. It's got complete relevance to who you are. So I've never done the same presentation twice at CalGym. I prepare something new every year. I don't do the same thing. Yes, of course, the themes to some extent could be common. They have to be. We're talking about chiropractic. But the actual presentation changes every year. So this year, I'm building it around the theme of freedom and the different implications of freedom relative to how to free yourself in practice so you're not under financial strain anymore and you can make decisions based on your vision, not based on how to make money. Not that they're in contradiction to each other, but what happens when chiropractors get into survival mentality, they're in chains in their mind. They're not free to practice the way they want. So I want to see freedom in practice. I want to see freedom for us to express ourselves as chiropractors properly. So the many implications of what it means to create freedom in the body by adjusting it and removing subluxation. So there's going to be basic dimensions of freedom and the theme of freedom and how it applies to the chiropractor. And I always want to give take-home value, meaning that that whatever I talk about that weekend, on Monday they can put it on the ground and it can start improving their practice. So I think I'm going to have a great presentation there, and I certainly invite everybody who's listening to come hear it. The other thing you talked about is we're launching now our 5th class of philosophy formula, and why? I'll tell you, part of philosophy formula was in reaction to what's going on in Europe. It's a matter of everybody listening right now. You all have belief elements. And when there are contradictions in those belief elements, you are going to have struggle and failure and burnout. When you align your belief elements with is a philosophy and you organize it properly and then apply it to the varying dimensions of your practice, then everything opens up and explodes in a positive way. You grow. So this course, I basically looked at how chiropractors were struggling. I looked at what's going on in Europe, and I said, I'm going to organize all this, and then we're going to apply it to all the different dimensions. Once you have the foundational philosophy of chiropractic in place, all the different dimensions of your practice. So it's a very, very practical course. It's a 12-week course. By the time they're hearing this, I'm not sure when this is coming out. This class might be launched, and they can look at the next one. But to get information, just go to philosophyformula.com, And you can just put in your information there, and we'll and every time that we're coming out with material relative to this particular program, we'll be happy to get it to you.
Perfect. All right, brother. I just want to tell you how much I love and appreciate you.
Well, love and appreciate you too. And I have to tell you,
pray for snow.
Yeah,
I'm coming, dude.
We're supposed to have one of the biggest seasons ever of snow out here.
Right.
So I hope to see a lot of you. But let me just say this. Nobody knows really, in a true sense, how much work, effort, and energy goes into coordinating and creating a program like CalJam. And I'll also say nobody knows the risk, especially the financial risk that's at hand. They look and say, "Oh, look, doesn't Billy have a grade? Look how fun he's got a successful practice." And CalJam, oh, it's got to be cool to be Billy D, and it is cool to be Billy D. But my point is, what you don't see is you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. When you actually get to the event, there's all this stuff underneath the water that is so outrageously stressful and time intensive and risk intensive and emotional draining to bring this to the world that when you come to CalJam and you see Billy, give him a hug and tell him, I get it and I appreciate you.
All right, brother. I am going to actually go meet with him about the party.
Right on.
We're doing a new venue for the Saturday night party. It's going to be super swanky this year.
I can't wait, man. I like swank.
I know. All right, brother. I love you and appreciate you, and I will talk to you upon the first snow this year.
$7 can get you a romance novel, a #1 combo at In-N-Out Burger, a 12-pack of granola bars, a cup of green juice, or 1 month of access to the CalJam network. At CalJam, we take pride in the array of topics our speakers have covered over the past 8 years. With the CalJam network membership, most of our speakers' talks can be accessed. In our network, you can also find numerous seminars from the Dead Chiropractic Society's monthly meeting with over 100 chiropractors and some of the best speakers in the profession. The CalJam network is your all-access pass to CalJam and DCS workshops, videos, and chiropractic content. From past CalJam speakers to recent DCS seminars, the network is a great resource for anybody passionate about chiropractic health or global sustainability. So don't miss out! We upload new and exciting content monthly, which can stream on any device, even your smartphone. Join the CalJam network today for only $7 a month at caljam.org/network.
Rock and roll! Not just one child. I said, you change it for the school.
Not your emotion, their emotion. Well, because everybody has a self-healing mechanism. We know that.
Your community is desperately waiting for you to show up.
Wake up out of your apathetic slumber. Tell the people all about the principles of chiropractic.
Is you are the vessel of the change.
Ability to move that keeps us alive.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me?